She announced our breakup at dinner, right there in front of cameras and her friends. I said, "Good luck," stood up and left. The room went silent as she started crying, and nobody seemed to know what to do next. All right, Reddit, buckle up, because this one's a doozy. My girlfriend of 3 years decided to dump me at a fancy restaurant while her friends secretly recorded the whole thing for social media content. She expected tears, begging, maybe a public meltdown she could post for likes. Instead, I said 2 words, stood up, and walked out. What happened next? Pure chaos. And honestly, the best decision I ever made. I'm Caleb, 29, and I work as an HVAC technician here in Milwaukee. Not glamorous, not impressive at dinner parties, but it pays well, and I'm good at it. I fix heating and cooling systems for commercial buildings, mostly office complexes and shopping centers. It's the kind of work where you're crawling around on rooftops in 90 degrees heat or freezing your hands off in January, but there's something satisfying about solving problems that actually matter. When someone's AC goes out in the middle of summer, they don't care about your Instagram following. They just want to stop sweating. I've been doing this work for about 7 years now. Started as an apprentice right out of high school, worked my way up through certifications and hands-on experience. Got my EPA certification, my NATE certification, all the stuff that actually matters in this field. My dad was a plumber for 30 years, so the trades run in the family. He always said, there's dignity in work that keeps your hands dirty, but your conscience clean. I never forgot that. I met Natalie at a Bros game back in August 2020. My buddy Ethan, who works commercial roofing, had dragged me out because he had extra tickets. Good seats too, right along the third baseline. We ended up in the same section as this group of women, one of whom was wearing a yellow jersey and had this laugh that carried across 3 rows. We started talking during the 7th inning stretch, and by the end of the game, I had her number. Our first date was at this little Italian place in Walker's Point. Nothing fancy, just good food and better conversation. She seemed genuinely interested in my work, asked questions about HVAC systems, like she actually wanted to understand. That felt rare. Most people's eyes glaze over when you start talking about compressor units and refrigerant cycles. But she listened, asked follow-up questions, made jokes about me being the guy who could save her if her apartment ever got too hot in summer. The first couple of years were genuinely good. We'd grab dinner at casual places around Milwaukee. She'd come over, and we'd watch movies on my couch, order pizza, talk until 2 o'clock in the morning. Simple stuff, real stuff. She'd come to my bowling league sometimes, cheer when I got a strike, tease me when I threw gutter balls. Thursday nights at Landmark Lanes with the same group of guys I'd been bowling with since high school. Ethan, my buddy Jake, a couple of other regulars. We'd been throwing balls at those same lanes for almost a decade, had our own lockers, knew all the staff by name. League night was sacred. It was the one night a week where I could just be myself with people who'd known me forever, where nobody cared about social media or networking or climbing any kind of ladder. We'd bowl 3 games, talk about sports, work, and life, grab some food afterward. Simple, real. Natalie understood that, or at least, she used to. I'd meet her work colleagues for happy hour, listen to her talk about whatever PR campaign she was working on, normal relationship stuff. She worked at a mid-sized PR firm downtown, handling communications for local businesses. Nothing crazy, but she was good at it and seemed to enjoy the work. We had this comfortable routine that felt easy, not like a chore, the kind of relationship where you actually looked forward to seeing the other person at the end of the day. Her apartment was this cute little 1-bedroom in River West. She decorated it with thrift store finds and plants she somehow kept alive despite claiming to have a black thumb. I spent a lot of time there fixing her leaky kitchen faucet, installing a ceiling fan she bought on sale, helping her mount a TV on the wall. She always said she loved that I could fix things, that it made her feel taken care of. I believed her. Around the 2.5-year mark, February 2023, something shifted. She got promoted at her firm, new title, new responsibilities, new group of people she started spending time with. Senior account executive. Bigger clients, bigger budgets, bigger egos in the office. That's when the comments started. Small ones at first. My silver ado was looking dated. Didn't I think it was time for something newer? Maybe I should think bigger about my career path. Consider getting into commercial work or starting my own company. Her colleague just bought a condo downtown. Wasn't that impressive for someone our age? Another one had started a consulting firm and was already pulling 6 figures. I let it slide. Figured it was stress from the new position. New responsibilities always bring pressure, right? At least that's what I told myself at the time. I didn't realize she was quietly comparing our entire life to the curated highlight reels she scrolled through on social media, measuring us against filtered photos and carefully crafted captions every time her thumb moved across Instagram. We never stood a chance against that kind of fantasy. Over the last year, things got progressively worse. She stopped coming to bowling league, started calling it towny stuff, said it wasn't really her scene anymore, and spent more and more time on Instagram, carefully curating stories about brunch spots, networking events, and influencer meetups. Her phone became a constant presence between us, like a third person in the relationship that demanded all her attention. At dinner, she'd be scrolling. At the movies, she'd be checking notifications during the trailers. In bed, she'd stay on it until past midnight, double-tapping photos and leaving comments on posts from people I'd never even heard of. When I asked what was wrong, she'd snap that I was being paranoid, that I didn't trust her, that I was being insecure. Any attempt to talk about our relationship got twisted into an argument about my supposed jealousy. The arguments became more frequent, and it didn't take much to set her off. I'd suggest staying in and cooking dinner together, and she'd accuse me of never wanting to go anywhere nice. I'd mention a new certification I was considering for work, and she'd say it wasn't ambitious enough. Nothing I did seemed right anymore. The guy she'd fallen for at that bros game apparently wasn't the guy she wanted now. She wanted the Instagram version of a boyfriend. Perfect hair, a fancy job, exotic vacations, expensive restaurants. That wasn't me. It never would be. 3 weeks before that Friday night, things intensified in a different way. She grew distant, always texting, always guarding her screen. She'd angle her phone away when I walked into the room, take calls in the bathroom or out in her car. When I asked her directly if something was going on, if she was seeing someone else, she completely lost it. She accused me of being controlling, of not trusting her, of trying to monitor her every move. I backed off because I didn't want to be that guy, the paranoid boyfriend who checks phones and demands passwords. I trusted her, or at least I trusted the person I thought she was. Then, suddenly and seemingly out of nowhere, she insisted we needed to go to this place called the Metropolitan for dinner. An upscale restaurant in the 3rd Ward, the kind of place with cloth napkins and servers who describe each dish like it's a work of art. Expensive as all get out. Not my scene at all. I'd driven past it 100 times and never once thought about going inside. She said it was important, that we needed to reconnect, that this dinner would help us get back on track. I didn't want to go, but I agreed because I wanted to fix whatever was breaking between us. I wanted to believe that one nice dinner could somehow bridge the gap that had opened up over the past year. Looking back, that was stupid, but love makes you stupid sometimes. That Friday, I drove my silver ado downtown. The valet looked at my truck the way you'd look at something that wandered in from the wrong neighborhood, handed me a ticket without making eye contact, and I immediately felt out of place. It should have been my first clue to turn around and leave, but I didn't. The Metropolitan was all dim lighting, small plates that cost $30, menus longer than repair manuals. The kind of place where an entree costs what I make in half a day. Piano music played softly in the background while people in suits and designer dresses talked about things that sounded important but meant nothing to me. I was wearing my nicest jeans and a button-down shirt I'd ironed that afternoon, and I still felt underdressed. She'd arrived early and gotten us a table right in the center of the dining room. Not private, not tucked away in a corner, but right where everyone could see us. I should have realized something was wrong right then. Why would someone choose the most visible table in the restaurant for a reconnect on dinner, unless visibility was the whole point? She looked different. A new dress I hadn't seen before, black and fitted, full makeup, professional styling, more effort than she'd ever put into our usual dates. Her hair was done up, jewelry catching the light. When I sat down, she smiled, but it wasn't her real smile. It was the one she used for Instagram photos, the one where her eyes didn't quite match her mouth. Practiced. Empty. Perfect for the camera. I ordered a Dr. Pepper. She ordered something fancy. We made small talk about her day and about mine. Surface-level conversation that made us feel like strangers on a first date instead of people who'd been together for 3 years. Something felt off, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Then I noticed them. Sophie, her college roommate, and Taylor, a friend from work, sitting maybe 15 feet away at a table with a perfect view of ours. They waved enthusiastically and called out about what an amazing coincidence this was. Oh my gosh, what are the odds we'd all be here at the same time, right? Some coincidence, in a city with hundreds of restaurants. I looked at their table more carefully and saw both phones positioned just right. Not face down, not tucked away, sitting upright and angled toward us, recording apps visible on the screens, little red dots glowing to show they were active. My stomach dropped. They were filming this. All of it. Recording every word, every gesture, every moment of what was about to happen. This wasn't a reconnect Ion dinner. This was a setup. Dinner started normal enough. We ordered. She got the pan-seared salmon with some kind of reduction I couldn't pronounce. I went with pasta because it was the least expensive thing on the menu that wouldn't make me look cheap. The waiter poured water into crystal glasses, brought bread to the table. Everything moved in slow motion as the pieces started clicking together in my head. She talked about work, about how she'd been thinking a lot about her future lately. Not our future, her goals, her trajectory. The words sounded rehearsed, like she'd written them down and memorized them. She kept glancing towards Sophie and Taylor's table, checking to make sure they were getting this, making sure the cameras were rolling. Then came the speech. You could tell she'd practiced it, probably in front of her bathroom mirror, recording herself on her phone, watching it back multiple times and making adjustments until she got the tone just right. The pauses came at calculated moments. The hand gestures were deliberate. This wasn't spontaneous. This was a performance designed for an audience. She talked about ambition, about drive, about growth, about needing to be with someone who inspired her to reach higher, to want more, to push boundaries. Her voice had this rehearsed quality to it, like an actress delivering lines she'd memorized but didn't really feel. One of her colleagues had just started a consulting firm and already had 3 major clients. Another had bought a condo in the 3rd ward, was talking about buying investment properties. These were people who were going somewhere. People who refused to settle for comfortable. People who wanted more out of life than just getting by. The implication was crystal clear, even if she never said it directly. I was comfortable where I was. I was content with my HVAC work, with my Silverado, with bowling on Thursdays and Bros games on weekends. I wasn't ambitious enough. I wasn't driven enough. I was holding her back from becoming the person she was meant to be. She said she cared about me, would always care about me, but she didn't see a future anymore. That I was a great guy, just not the right guy for her. That she needed someone who matched her energy, who pushed her to be better, who understood her vision for her life. The whole time she's talking, I'm watching Sophie and Taylor out of the corner of my eye. They're barely containing their excitement. This was content gold for them. Public breakup at a fancy restaurant, complete with dramatic speech and hopefully a tearful reaction from the boyfriend who just found out his relationship was ending. Perfect for TikTok, perfect for Instagram Reels, perfect for whatever social media platform was paying attention. I set my fork down quietly, placed it gently on the plate, wiped my mouth with the cloth napkin. The whole restaurant seemed to fade away. All I could hear was my own breathing, my own heartbeat. Years of relationship, hundreds of memories reduced to this orchestrated moment designed for strangers on the internet. I made eye contact with her, held it, paused for maybe 2 seconds that felt like 20. Then I simply said, "Good luck to you." 4 words. That's all it took. Her script hadn't accounted for that response. She'd expected me to beg, to argue, to make a scene, to cry or plead or demand we work it out. to give her the dramatic reaction she needed for her video, for her story, for her Instagram followers. She wanted theater. I gave her nothing. I stood up slowly, calmly, pulled my wallet from my back pocket, took out 2 20s, more than enough to cover my half of the bill and my part of the tip, dropped them on the table next to my half-eaten pasta. Then I walked toward the exit. Didn't say another word. Didn't look back. Didn't acknowledge Sophie and Taylor sitting there with their phones still recording. Just walked 1 foot in front of the other. Past the other diners who'd stopped their own conversations to watch. Past the servers who stood frozen holding plates. Past the host stand near the entrance. The entire restaurant went quiet. You could hear the piano music clearly now. Nobody was talking. Forks weren't hitting plates. It was like someone had hit pause on the entire scene. Every person in that room was watching me walk out and not a single one of them knew what to make of it. Behind me, I heard her voice crack. "Wait," she said. "Wait." But I kept walking. I heard her chair scrape against the floor. She was getting up. Sophie and Taylor looked confused, like they weren't sure if they got the shot they wanted, if this was part of the plan, or if something had gone wrong. Their carefully orchestrated content piece was falling apart in real time. I pushed through the restaurant doors and stepped outside, handed my ticket to the valet, stood there waiting. The cold October air felt good after the stuffiness of the restaurant. I could finally breathe again. The night sky was clear, stars visible between the city lights. Everything felt sharper, more real than it had in months. A minute later, I heard heels clicking fast on the pavement. Natalie came out through the restaurant doors, practically running in those heels, that dress under the parking lot lights. She looked different, smaller. The confidence from inside was gone. The performer had lost her audience. She caught me just as the valet brought the Silverado around. Engine running, headlights on, my escape route right there. Her voice cracked as she reached me. The rehearsed confidence from the dinner table had evaporated. This was different. Raw panic mixed with disbelief. Her mascara was already smudging. She'd been crying. Real tears this time. Not the performative kind. "Wait," she said. "Just wait. You're not even going to fight for this. For us?" I looked at her clearly. "You just ended it. I'm respecting your choice." She stepped in front of my driver's door, blocking my path, put her hand on the handle like she could physically stop me from leaving. "You're throwing away 3 years like this. Like it means nothing." "I'm not throwing anything away. You did that inside. I'm just accepting reality." Her face twisted, angry now, the tears turning to something else. "You know what? This is exactly why we don't work. You don't care. You never cared enough to fight for anything. You just give up. You're a quitter." I looked past her. Sophie and Taylor had come outside, standing by the restaurant entrance about 30 feet away, watching this unfold, still holding their phones, probably still recording, probably getting more footage than they'd planned on. This wasn't following the script at all. "I'm done with this conversation," I said. "Of course you are, because that's what you do. You run away from difficult things." "I didn't run away from anything. You set this whole thing up, picked the restaurant, brought your friends, had them film the entire thing. This isn't about me being a quitter. This is about you wanting a show, and I'm not performing for you." I moved past her gently but firmly. Got in my truck. She stood there frozen as I closed the door. Through the windshield, I could see her face. Complete shock. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. The perfect breakup video had turned into a disaster for her narrative. I backed out carefully, checked my mirrors, pulled away. In the rear view, I saw her standing there in the parking lot, arms wrapped around herself while Sophie and Taylor slowly approached her. Their excited energy from inside the restaurant was nowhere to be found. I drove home through Milwaukee streets that felt different, lighter. The street lights looked brighter. The radio sounded clearer. I parked in my driveway, walked into my house, grabbed a Sprite from the fridge, cracked it open, turned on the Braves game. They were playing the Cubs bottom of the 5th tied 22. I sat on my couch, drank my soda, and felt nothing but relief. Like I just dodged something way worse than a breakup, way worse than heartache. I dodged being someone's content. Someone's villain in a story she wanted to tell for likes and comments and shares. She wanted to turn our relationship into performance art, and I'd refused to participate. 3 years together, and this is what it came down to. A staged restaurant scene and phones recording in the background. Some relationships end with arguments, some end with tears. Mine ended with me becoming footage for someone's social media strategy. My phone started buzzing about 15 minutes later. Text messages from her. Calls one after another. I didn't read the texts, didn't answer the calls, just let them pile up. Before bed, I blocked her number. Went to sleep easier than I had in months. Saturday morning came quiet. My phone rang at 10 from an unknown number. Let it go to voicemail. Didn't listen to it. Spent the day cleaning my house, doing laundry, fixing a leaky faucet I'd been putting off for weeks. Normal weekend stuff. The kind of productive Saturday I hadn't had in months because I was always worried about whether Natalie would approve of how I spent my time. Sunday afternoon, another call from a different unknown number. Let it ring out. Blocked that one, too. I recognized the pattern. She was using her friends' phones. Sophie and Taylor lending her their numbers like they'd lent her front row seats to our breakup. Monday morning, 6:45. I was dressed for work, coffee in hand, about to walk out to my truck. Saw a car in my driveway that wasn't mine. Natalie got out looking completely different from Friday night. No makeup, old sweatpants, hair thrown up in a messy bun. Dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept all weekend. She looked rough. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we don't." I kept walking toward my truck. "Please, I made a mistake." I stopped, turned to face her, set my coffee on the hood of my Silverado. "You didn't make a mistake. You planned that whole thing. The restaurant, the cameras, your friends being there. How long did you work on it? 2 weeks? 3? She looked down at her feet. Wouldn't meet my eyes. That's what I thought. You wanted to humiliate me. Make yourself look good on camera so you could post it online and get validation from strangers. Except it didn't go the way you scripted it. I didn't give you the reaction you needed." Tears started rolling down her face. Real ones this time. I was stupid. I listened to the wrong people. Sophie and Taylor said it would be empowering, that I deserved better, that I should make a statement about moving on. I don't care what your friends said. You're a grown woman. You made a choice. You chose to embarrass me in public. You chose to film it. You chose all of it. Can't we just talk about this? Get coffee or something. There's nothing to talk about. I grabbed my coffee, got in my truck, started the engine, backed out of my driveway while she stood there watching. Left her standing in front of my house as the sun came up over Milwaukee. That night, my buddy Ethan called. We've been friends since high school. One of those guys who knows everyone and hears everything through the grapevine. He sounded uncomfortable on the phone. "Hey man, so I heard something at the gym today about you and Natalie. What did you hear?" He hesitated. Apparently someone knows her cousin. The whole restaurant thing was planned out over a month. She picked the Metropolitan, specifically briefed Sophie and Taylor on what to film. Had this whole vision for how it would go viral. She'd dump you. You'd make a scene. She'd look strong and independent. And boom, thousands of likes, comments supporting her brave decision. Classic social media play. I sat with that for a second. A month. She'd spent a month planning to publicly humiliate me while I was working overtime to save for a vacation I thought we'd take together. She was choreographing my humiliation. The thing is, Ethan continued, you ruined it by just leaving by not reacting. Now people are asking questions like, why would someone plan a public breakup? What kind of person does that? Her friends are getting heat. 2 people commenting on their Instagram asking why they were filming someone getting dumped. The narrative she wanted to control was slipping away and it had nothing to do with me. I didn't have to defend myself. The truth was doing that on its own. I decided right then to focus on myself instead of dwelling on what she'd done. Called my buddy from bowling league the next day, asked if that Standing Thursday spot was still available. He laughed, said, "Welcome back." Started going to this dive bar called The Hideout on Friday nights. Bayview, south side of Milwaukee. Wood paneling on the walls, neon signs, pool tables in the back, local bands on weekends playing in a corner that barely qualifies as a stage. The kind of place Natalie always hated. Too loud, she'd say. Too crowded. Too many working-class people. Not her scene. Not sophisticated enough for her Instagram aesthetic. Perfect for me. That second Friday after the breakup, I went alone, grabbed a spot at the bar, ordered a root beer. A band was setting up on the small stage. 3 guys with guitars and a drum kit doing sound checks. The woman next to me at the bar smiled, commented on the music. They play here every other Friday, she said. Pretty good for a local group. Simple conversation, nothing loaded, nothing complicated, just 2 people talking about music. Her name was Megan. She taught 3rd grade at a public elementary school on the east side. Had come here every Friday for the past year, ever since she moved back to Milwaukee from Madison. We talked for maybe half an hour about music, about living in Milwaukee, about the Bros playoff chances. Nothing deep, nothing heavy, just genuine conversation between 2 people who happened to be sitting next to each other. When I left around 11 o'clock, I felt lighter than I had in months. I didn't get her number, didn't try to, just enjoyed a normal Friday night without the weight of someone else's expectations crushing me. The stalking started the following week. And yeah, I'm calling it stalking because that's exactly what it was. Tuesday morning, I stopped at my usual Dunkin' Donuts on Oakland Avenue, the one I hit every morning before heading to job sites. 6:30 in the morning, barely awake, just wanting coffee. Walked in and there she was, Natalie sitting in the corner booth, laptop open, cup in front of her. She looked up when I walked in. Her face arranged itself into surprise like she just happened to be there. Like this wasn't the Dunkin' on the opposite side of town from where she lived. Like she hadn't remembered I'd mentioned coming here every single morning for 3 years. The coincidence was insulting. Oh, hey. What are you doing here? Getting coffee. Same as you. I didn't engage beyond that. Walked to the counter, ordered my usual large black coffee, paid. Walked out. Didn't sit down. Didn't make conversation. Just got what I came for and left. Through the window, I saw her watching me go. Phone in her hand. Thursday evening around 6, I stopped at Sendik's to grab groceries for the week, walking down the produce aisle, grabbing apples, and there she was, Natalie, holding a basket with maybe 3 items in it, examining tomatoes like she was selecting precious gems. Our eyes met. She smiled. Hey, she said. Funny running into you. Yeah, funny. I moved to the next aisle to grab bread. She appeared again at the other end looking at pasta. Same aisle twice. This wasn't coincidence. This was surveillance. I completed my shopping without saying another word. Checked out. Left. Wednesday of the 3rd week, I was at a commercial job site in Wauwatosa, big office building, getting a complete HVAC overhaul. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of work. I was on the roof checking compressor units when Dave, my supervisor, came up the access ladder. Hey, Caleb. Everything okay? Yeah. Why? There's someone at the perimeter fence. Woman been standing there about 20 minutes watching the building. I walked to the edge of the roof, looked down. Natalie standing outside the chain link fence looking up. When she saw me seeing her, she waved. Actually waved like this was normal behavior. Like standing outside someone's workplace for 20 minutes was a totally reasonable thing to do. Dave looked at me. Friend of yours? Ex-girlfriend? Who can't take a hint? Dave's expression hardened. He was maybe 47, had 2 daughters, didn't have patience for this kind of thing. He went down the ladder, made a phone call. 5 minutes later, building security walked over to the fence, had a conversation with Natalie. She gestured toward the building, toward me. Security shook their heads. She stood there arguing for another minute, then finally left. Got in her car, and drove away. Dave came back up, told security if she comes back, they're calling the police for trespassing. You need time off or anything? No, I'm good. Thanks, though. That finally stopped the physical appearances. No more showing up places. No more coincidental encounters. She'd pushed it too far, and even she knew it. Megan was at the hideout that third Friday, sitting at the same spot at the bar where we'd talked before. She smiled when she saw me, genuinely happy to see a familiar face. We talked longer this time. She told me about her week teaching 8-year-olds, about the kid who brought his pet turtle for show and tell, about parent-teacher conferences that ran 4 hours late. I told her about commercial HVAC systems, about fixing a compressor on a 90-degree roof, about Dave and the crew I worked with, normal conversation between normal people with normal jobs living normal lives. We exchanged numbers before I left that night. No game playing, no waiting 3 days to text, just straightforward. I'd like to see you again. Me, too. That same week on Wednesday afternoon, we met for coffee at this place called Collectivo on Prospect Avenue. Coffee shop right on the lake, windows looking out at Lake Michigan. We sat for 2 hours, talked about growing up in Wisconsin, about our families, about teaching and HVAC work, and what we wanted out of life. She mentioned her last relationship, how the guy made good money in sales but couldn't handle that she made slightly more as a teacher. How he'd make little comments about how she must think she was better than him, about how she was too independent, about how she emasculated him by paying for things. That sounds exhausting, I said. It was. People get insecure about the weirdest things. They take it out on the wrong person instead of dealing with their own stuff. The comparison to Natalie was obvious, but neither of us said it out loud. We didn't need to. By the 4th week after the dinner, Natalie launched her next move. My old friend Connor texted me on a Sunday afternoon. We'd known each other since college. Stayed in touch over the years. Good guy, straightforward. His text was simple. Hey man, what's going on with you and Natalie? Can you call me? I called him immediately. What do you mean? He sounded uncomfortable. Your ex is telling people some wild stuff. Saying you were controlling during the relationship. That you isolated her from her friends. That you got aggressive when she tried to leave. I've heard it from at least 3 different people this weekend. Figured you should know. My stomach dropped like I'd missed a step going downstairs. She's saying what? Yeah. I heard it through Amy who heard it from Taylor. Then Jake mentioned it at the gym. Then I saw something vague on Facebook from someone else. It's making the rounds. Thought you should be aware. I hung up feeling sick, controlling, aggressive, isolating words designed to make people question everything about me. Words that could follow me around for years if enough people believed them. By Tuesday, 3 more mutual friends reached out, all with variations of the same question. What really happened? Is what she's saying true? Did you actually do those things? People I'd known for years were suddenly looking at me differently, wondering if they'd missed something. If the guy they trusted was actually some kind of monster. Natalie was painting herself as the victim of an abusive relationship, saying I'd manipulated her for years, that I'd made her doubt herself, made her feel small, made her afraid, that the restaurant was her finally escaping, that she was scared of how I'd react. Then my calmness wasn't dignity, it was calculated emotional abuse, the silent treatment, the cold shoulder, all signs of controlling behavior, apparently. She'd done her research, found all the buzzwords, and weaponized them against me. Complete fiction. All of it. But the thing about lies is that they spread faster than truth. And some people, even good people, will wonder if maybe there's some truth to it. Where there's smoke, right? I made a choice. I wasn't going to defend myself publicly. Wasn't going to make counterposts or statements. Defending myself would give her exactly what she wanted. Attention, engagement, proof that she still mattered to me. The best response was no response. Megan asked me about it that Friday at the hideout. How are you holding up? Been better, I said. People are talking. Yeah, I know. For what it's worth, I don't believe any of it. Why not? You barely know me. She shrugged. Because if you were actually like that, I'd have seen signs by now. Controlling guys don't give people space. They don't stay calm during confrontations. They don't just walk away. They escalate. You've done the opposite of all that. Made sense when she put it that way. The tide started turning about a week later. Someone had saved the original restaurant video before Natalie deleted it, posted it to the Milwaukee subreddit with context. Woman plans public breakup for Instagram doesn't go as planned. The video showed everything. Her rehearsed speech, Sophie and Taylor's phones propped up recording. Me quietly standing up, dropping money on the table and walking out without a word. The silence in the restaurant, her chasing me outside. All of it documented and now public for everyone to see. The comments were brutal. People calling her manipulative, calling her a performer. Some recognized Sophie and Taylor from the video and started questioning their involvement. Why were they filming? Why were they positioned like that? Why did the whole thing look so staged? Sophie and Taylor went private on social media. Taylor posted a vague apology about participating in something she regretted. Started untangling herself from photos with Natalie. The friend group was collapsing in real time. Natalie tried doubling down. Made a long Instagram post about how people didn't understand the full story, how the restaurant was her finally standing up for herself after years of subtle control. The post got maybe 14 likes, mostly from people who didn't know either of us. She disabled comments within an hour. Mutual friends who'd initially believed her started asking for proof, screenshots, anything concrete. She had nothing because nothing happened. Week 7, Thursday evening. Sophie called me. Actual phone call, not a text. She's falling apart. Sophie said she won't leave her apartment. Only talks to me. I'm worried about her. I'm sorry she's going through that, but it's not my responsibility. I know. I just needed to tell someone. Why? What do you want me to do? Silence on the other end. Then nothing, I guess. We hung up. Week 10, Sunday evening. I was home watching the Packers game. Close game. Fourth quarter. Doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Natalie standing on my porch alone, looking like she hadn't slept in days. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. I need to talk to you. There's nothing to talk about. Please just hear me out. I sighed. You've got 2 minutes. She took a shaky breath. I messed up everything. The restaurant, the lies, all of it. I was hurt and angry, and I wanted you to feel what I was feeling, but it backfired. And now everyone hates me, and I don't know what to do. That's not my problem. I know it's not, but I need you to know I'm sorry. Genuinely sorry. I wish I could take it all back. You can't. I know. We stood there, her waiting for something. Me having nothing left to give. Is there any chance? No. You didn't even let me finish. I don't need to. The answer is no. No second chance. No forgiveness. No staying friends. Just no. Her face crumpled. I loved you. You loved controlling me. There's a difference. That's not fair. You humiliated me on purpose. Tried to ruin my reputation when I moved on. Fair doesn't exist here anymore. She stood there a few more seconds, then nodded, turned, walked to her car, drove off. I closed the door, went back to the couch. Game was tied. Going to overtime. My phone buzzed. Text from Megan about lunch tomorrow. I smiled, typed back, confirming. Game came back on. Packers kicked a field goal, won by 3. Life moved on with or without Natalie's permission. 5 months later, life looked completely different. I got promoted at work. Lead technician on major commercial contracts. Better pay, better hours, actual respect from the crew. Megan and I made it official around month 4. No games, no tests, just 2 people who enjoyed being together. We went to Bros games, grabbed dinner at random places, spent weekends doing absolutely nothing special. She came to bowling league with me, fit right in with the guys. Ethan told me after the first night she came that I'd finally found a keeper. That's when things got interesting again. Ethan texted me on a Tuesday afternoon. You're going to want to see this. Sent me a link to the Milwaukee subreddit. Someone had posted an update thread about the restaurant video. Turns out Natalie's PR firm had let her go. The official reason was downsizing, but according to the post, multiple clients had complained after recognizing her from the viral video, said they didn't want someone with that kind of judgment handling their communications. Sophie and Taylor had both distanced themselves completely. Taylor actually posted a public apology on her Instagram, said she got caught up in someone else's drama and made choices she regretted. Didn't name Natalie directly, but everyone knew who she was talking about. Comments were brutal. A week later, I ran into Steve, a guy who used to work with Natalie at the PR firm. We were both at the same hardware store. He recognized me, came over to shake my hand. Hey man, he said he just wanted to say that whole situation was messed up. Everyone at the office knew what she was planning. Some of us tried to talk her out of it. She wouldn't listen. I appreciated him telling me that. She's been struggling. He continued. Can't find work in PR anywhere in Milwaukee. Her reputation's shot. Last I heard, she was talking about moving to Minneapolis to start over. I nodded, wished him well, grabbed my supplies, and left. Month 6. Megan and I were at a Bros game. Perfect seats along the third baseline. Same section where I'd met Natalie almost 4 years earlier. Funny how things work out. Bottom of the 7th, I went to grab us some food. Standing in line at the concession stand when I heard a familiar voice behind me. Caleb. I turned around. Natalie. She looked different. Thinner, tired, no makeup, hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. Nothing like the polished version of herself she used to present. Hey, I said. Kept my voice neutral. I heard you got promoted. That's great. You deserve it. Thanks. She shifted her weight, clearly uncomfortable. I'm moving next month. Minneapolis. Fresh start. Good luck with that. She flinched at the words, same ones I'd said at the Metropolitan. I didn't mean it as a callback, but she clearly took it that way. I know I don't deserve anything from you, she said, but I wanted you to know that I've been doing a lot of thinking about everything, about how I treated you, about what I threw away. I grabbed my food from the counter. Okay, that's it. Just okay. What do you want me to say? Natalie, you made your choices. I made mine. We're done. I started walking back toward my seat. She called after me. Is she good to you? The new girl. I stopped, turned back. Her name's Megan. And yeah, she is good. That's good. You deserve someone who appreciates you. I walked away without responding. Got back to my seat. Handed Megan her nachos. She asked who I was talking to. Nobody important. I said, just someone from a long time ago. Guys, we are so close to hit 3,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 3,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come.